Welcome to day 32 of our school year. That filled in. All right, let's get down our beginning fraction. Our denominator is 180 because we have a total of 180 school days. And our numerator is 32. That's the day we are currently on. Let's find the factors of our numerator, which is 32. Two factors we always know are 1 and the number itself. Using the commutative property of multiplication, I can also write it as 32 times 1. Now I'm going to go through my divisibility rules in an orderly fashion. After 1, I'm going to try 2. The rule for 2 is that it ends in an even number. 2 is even, so 2 is a factor. And it is 2 times 16, 16 times 2. Now we try 3. The rule for 3 is that we add the digits together. 3 plus 2 is 5. 5 is not a multiple of 3, so 3 is not a factor. We try 4. One way to look for 4 is look at the second factor with 2. If it's even, then 4 will be a factor. 16 is even, so 4 is a factor. 4 times 8. 8 times 4. All we have to do is try the numbers between 4 and 8. Next we try 5. The rule for 5 is that it ends in a 0 or 5. It ends in a 2, so 5 is not a factor. We try 6. The rule for 6 is that both 2 and 3 are factors. 2 is, but 3 is not, so 6 is not a factor. 7, we just list our multiples. 7, 14, 21, 28, 35. 32 is not in that list, so 7 is not a factor. Then we get to 8, and we are done. So let's go ahead and list our factors from least to greatest. We have 6 factors. That is more than 2 factors, so it is composite. And now we need to find our greatest common factor. So let's start with our greatest factor for 32 and see if that works for 180, if that's common. So we're making groups of 32. If that doesn't work, then we'll go to 16. It does not matter what your groups of 32 look like, just as long as you have 32 in each one and you don't have the shaded with the unshaded. Looks like I have 20 left over. Since I have 20 left over, that means 32 is not a factor of 180. Let's try 16. So again, keep the shaded separated from the unshaded, and we want to make sure that each group has 16. So I know that 16 is a perfect square, 4 times 4, so I'm going to use that to help me make some of my groups. Again, your groups do not have to look like mine. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 15, 16. 3, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I have 4 left over. So that means that 16 did not work. 16 is not the greatest common factor. Let's try 8. Because we need a number that works for both. So again, with our groups of 8, you want to keep your shaded separated from your unshaded, but you want to make sure that each group has 8. So what I know is that each row has 10. So if I cut 2 off the end of each of these rows, I'm left with 8. Now you can always count to make your groups. That will work. Takes a little bit longer, but if that gets to you to the right answer, we would like to be precise and have accurate answers. So it's better to get to the right answer slowly than the wrong answer quickly. But the more you understand about numbers, the faster that you can end up going, because you use your logic and reasoning to help speed things up. I'm left with 4, so that means that 8 did not work. Let's try 4. Again, we need to keep our shaded separate from our unshaded in our groups of 4. And we need to make sure there's 4 in each group. All right, no remainder. We finally found our greatest common factor. It is 4. So now that we found all our groups of 4, let's go ahead and count them up to find our new denominator. I have 5 in each row, so I'm going to count by 5s. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 45. I have 45 total groups, and the amount shaded in, I have 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 groups shaded in. So I did my division with my model. Now I need to do it with my algorithm. So I'm going to divide each one by my greatest common factor of 4, because I did everything into groups of 4. Here, let's go ahead and do our division. All right, so I know 4 quarters makes 100 cents or $1. Numbers the same, zeros the game, more on top, no need to stop. And then to get that 8, the 2 will help me get there, and then I need the placeholder to move it over place. 2 times 4 is 8. Numbers the same, zeros the game. Then over here, let's see, let's try 4 times 5, because 4 times 5 is 20. More on top, no need to stop. More on top, no need to stop. Not sure. Let's see, 2 times 8, 4 is 8. 12 take away 8 is 4. And then one group of 4. Numbers the same, zeros the game. So even if you don't know that 8 times 4 is 32, you can get there with what you do know. 5, 6, 7, 8. We still need to check our answers with our inverse operation. Divisor, oops, I didn't add my quotient, times your quotient plus your remainder. Divisor times quotient plus remainder. Since our remainder is 0 for both, and the identity property of addition says when you add 0, it stays the same, I don't need to actually add the 0. 4 times 5 is 20. I regroup. 4 times 4 is 16 tens, plus 2 more tens is 18 tens. 4 times 8 is 32. So 32, that matches this dividend up here. 180 matches this dividend up here, so both check. And that means my numerator is definitely 8, and my denominator is definitely 45. Alright, so now let's go ahead and fill in our data collection page. Alright, we are now in trimester 1, week 8. Our date today is 9/23/19, and our fraction for today is 8/45. Okay, let's go ahead and get it out our number line. We did groups of 4, and our last group of 4 was 7/45, so here we go, 8/45. We do have an equivalent fraction in the 2's. 2 is also a common factor. And then here we have our 32/180ths. So this is our simplest form, or equivalent fraction in lowest terms. Okay, go ahead and put your number line away, erase your worksheet, and thank you for joining me.